Hi, my name is Darius and I'm a professional bassist and teacher for electric and upright bass. Today we will have a deep dive into three Tech21 SansAmp pedals that are very popular among bassists but very different to each other. At first you will hear a loop that I recorded with my jazz bass, and we will compare various settings on the three pedals. After that, I want to show you diagrams to illustrate which frequencies are actually affected by the controls on the pedals. And in the end, I will tell you what makes each pedal special so you can decide for your own which one is best for you, and give you my opinion which pedal I like the best. So let's start with the BassDriver DI. I have the V2 with the mid knob and I don't want to miss that. Yeah, I really like the sound of this that the blend control is adding. So the SansAmp emulation circuit, I think that's what it's called. But the cherry on top for me is the presence control. This is just such a nice way to shape your drive tone, um, especially at the edge of breakup, just to push it um, beyond that in just the right spot in the frequency range. That's really nice. Yes, you have the inherent mid scoop and you cannot get rid of it when you run blend on full. I have a setting where I just remembered myself how to set it if I want the least amount of mid scoop in full blend. But of course you can just compensate by turning the blend knob like up to here, and then the original mids come through. But the emulation of the tube overdrive is so good in, I think, in all of these three pedals. But the mid scoop is also just at the right spot. I think it's at 760 hertz or 800 hertz. Um, yeah, I really like it. If you go higher on the drive, you should also push the presence control, otherwise it gets a little muddy. But yeah, the frequency selectors for bass and mid is really great, especially when you want to cut bass. I highly recommend trying out the 40 hertz switch. That's really good. So next up we have the ParaDriver. I acquired this in hope that the mid-shift knob would give me the possibility to combat the mid-scoop that the SansAmp emulation circuit has baked in. This is true to an extent, but it comes with a compromise. Um, at first, the mid-frequency, and of course also the boost of the mid-frequency and cut, is pre-gain. So you can fully compensate the mid scoop with this pedal if you set it like to 500 hertz and push the mids really hard. But if you then turn up the drive, you also push 500 hertz into the drive, and that might not be the thing that you want. If you want to push different frequencies into the drive, which does sound really good, you have to live with the mid scoop at 500 with this pedal. That's just a fact. I really liked what you could get out of this, but it was just overdriving way too fast for me, even when setting it in minimal position, and these switches really did not do it for me at all. So the air button is not really that effective in my perception. It takes away a little tiny bit of low end. That's what I heard, but I don't really hear that much of added sparkle in contrast to the byte switch on the VTDI, but we'll come to that later. The rumble filter, on the other hand, should, according to the manual, like what a rumble filter does, get rid of excessive lows. But this is just cutting way too much. So this is not usable at all when you're playing bass. Yeah, and in the end, the winner for me is the VT Bass DI, because it's such a well thought through pedal. Because when you plug it in and you put all knobs at noon, you get a kind of an amp feel even when the blend is at full, but you don't get this mid scoop. And this makes it way easier to dial in sounds, in my opinion. Also, you have the character knob, which is essentially a mid boost and cut before the gain stage, just like the ParaDriver DI. But in this case, you also have the mid knob to shape your mids. So first thing, you don't have to battle mid scoop if you don't want it with the single mid knob that you only have on the ParaDriver DI. You can boost mids into the drive, or you can cut mids before the drive, and then compensate if you want with the post gain mid knob. This is really, really cool. Also, this pedal, because of this concept, it lets you shapeshift into very different characters. You can emulate a BassDriver DI pretty well with this pedal by like cutting mids pre-gain, leaving this mid scoop in the pedal, so not putting them back in post-gain, and like pushing the lows, engaging byte switch and cabinet emulation, pulling back the highs a little bit to compensate the byte switch. And there you go. This sounds like that. Apart from the genius character knob, which gives you so many possibilities, I really love that you can disengage the cap simulation here. It would have been great if you could like choose to put the cap simulation on the XLR out to front of house and not put it out to your amp because you're already running into a cap. But I don't mind it. I can live with that. And having it on both sides, you could also have the benefit like to use this as a drive pedal, run a tweeter on your cap and have a bright clean tone, and not like get your ears busted out when you put on the drive, because you can cut the highs that would sound horrible through the tweeter away with the caps in here. That's just really, really nice. The only thing that you might need some time to get used to, and that I don't like all the time, is that the bass knob has a quite high center frequency set at 125 Hertz. This makes it a little more difficult, especially when running higher gain or high gain, to like fill up the sound from beneath, from really sub frequencies. Especially the ParaDriver does a fantastic job at this. Yeah, in the end, these are all great pedals, and it's no wonder that players all over the world have one of these three as their favorites and use them all the time. I would say the BassDriver DI is perfect because it's ready to go. The sound is just ready in almost every situation. When you can live with that signature sound, then why worry about anything else? The VT Bass DI is fantastic because you can like build your own sound from scratch. But in some extreme settings, it might not do the job as well. The ParaDriver is fantastic if you don't mind having always some kind of breakup, or you're just using a very, very low output bass. And if you think that you can handle the really, really fat low end that the pedal gives you. So that's it from me today. If you liked this one and you want to see more of me, I plan on doing a little more amp reviews and also pedals and going in depth. Yeah, you can leave a like and subscribe. I would appreciate that. And yeah, love to see you soon and chat in the comments. Bye.